The morning of March 12th, Matthew chapter 5, verse 43, you shall love your neighbor. Love your neighbor. Perhaps he rolls in riches and you are poor, and living in your little cot side by side with his lordly mansion, you see every day his estates, his fine linen, and his sumptuous banquets. God has given him these gifts. Do not covet his wealth, and think not hard thoughts concerning him. Be content with your own lot, if you cannot better it, but do not look upon your neighbor and wish that he were as yourself. Love him, and then you will not envy him. Perhaps, on the other hand, you are rich, and near you resides the poor. Do not scorn to call them your neighbor. Own that you are bound to love them. The world calls them your inferiors. In what are they inferior? They are far more your equals than your inferiors, for God has made of one blood all people that dwell upon the face of the earth. It is your coat which is better than theirs, but you are by no means better than they. They are men. What are you more than that? Take heed that you love your neighbor, even though he be in rags or sunken in the depths of poverty. But perhaps you say, I cannot love my neighbors because for all I do, they return ingratitude and contempt. So much the more room for the heroism of love. Would you be a feather-bed warrior instead of bearing the rough fight of love? He who dares the most shall win the most. And if rough be your path of love, tread it boldly, still loving your neighbors through thick and thin. Heap coals of fire on their heads, and if they be hard to please, don't seek to please them, but to please your master. And remember, if they spurn your love, your master has not spurned it, and your deed is as acceptable to him as if it had been acceptable to them. Love your neighbor, for in doing so, you are following the footsteps of Christ.